Welcome, fellow Tenno. My name is Jukantos, and I am here to talk about my personal opinion on the stair doors affair, aka the Rare 5 Fusion Core debacle that has been taking place over the last couple of days. I apologize for the audio quality. I'm not really equipped to do this, and this is the first time ever doing a video like this with an actual script. So let's get right to it. In patch 15.13, effectively Rare 5 Fusion Cores got a huge drop rate nerf in Tower for Survival, which used to be the #1 farming spot for them. Being effectively replaced with packs of Orokin cells that have no real in-game value to late-game veterans like me who are already sitting on 200 or more of them, mainly being dropped by Vor in that very mission already, having no use for them whatsoever. However, with the new primed mods requiring 528 rare fusion cores each, we definitely had a use for those. And it would be nice if they were to return to their former drop rate, because let's just say the way DE handled this matter was, let's say, unfortunate in my opinion. They did a very poor job on the dev stream. I'm gonna put a link in the description, and I would advise you to just look at Sheldon's reaction when Rebecca brings the topic up. It's like he immediately tries to change the topic to a platinum giveaway and claims that he didn't think this through, but in my honest opinion, he had to force that laugh a little bit too much, and it didn't seem completely credible from my personal perspective. And I don't know why they would have gone through with this change, since they have not been willing to provide an explanation. I kind of have to assume the worst and consider the possibility that it might have been just to sell fusion cores over the market, but that kind of doesn't make sense because they are sold in too small quantities there. And I actually ran the math for it. I'll try to put a picture of it on screen here. You would actually need to invest approximately $501 to upgrade a single primed mod to the maximum while buying only maximum efficiency platinum packages, so that's unlikely. And they have taken a couple of compensation steps, but they have gone in completely the wrong direction with them, in my personal opinion. So what did they do? Well, they added in 15.13.8, the hotfix, they added Rare 5 Fusion Cores to the star chart as pieces of drops in survival and interception missions. And while that is a great idea, the accessibility is kind of low because they exclusively drop in rotation B in interception, so you have to run 3 waves for a shot, and in rotation A for survival, so your only shot is 10-minute runs. And the drop ratio is 25% in survival and 50% in interception. Now, why is this a bad thing? Because it means that effectively you're going to have to spend 10 minutes to have effectively 25% chances at core packs, meaning per 20 minutes, if you do 2 10-minute runs, that would give you 1 pack of cores on average. And considering to obtain the amount of mods for a primed mod, the amount of cores, you would need 106 packs. This would leave you at 2,112 minutes of playtime, or 35 hours and 20 minutes. Now, that is significantly higher than you would have had to play Tower for Survival before these nerfs, because let's be reasonable here, if you ran 40 minutes of Tower for Survival, you would almost always have at least 20, or most of the time even 25 cores in your inventory. Running a 60-minute run was pretty much secure to give you 30 to 35 cores, about a 50% ratio per 5 minutes, which is literally double the amount we're now guaranteed with the new drop locations and the new ratios. And this is the real problem with this update. Like, I cannot understand why you post official forum posts saying you do not understand why we would see this as a negative change. Because in all honesty, how could this not be a negative change? You literally just halved the drop rate for the biggest spots that you offer us. So effectively you doubled the grinding time we need to actually invest to upgrade a single mod. It went up by double the amount at least, and at the same time, you're still monetizing fusion cores, but not in a way that anyone can take seriously. Again, the math on it is just horrifying and unreasonable. Nobody, like, no. Why would you invest $500 worth of platinum to max out a single mod? That doesn't make sense. And trading them is also not very reasonable, considering you have to pay 8,000 credits for each core you want to trade. So to trade 2 cores off of other players, you would have to run a 5-wave dark sector defense or a 5-minute dark sector survival, which might actually become the most played format in the future, considering you now in 1514 finally fixed some of the lower level star map sections and the dark sectors not having these drop changes, which suddenly, by the way, elevated dark sector survivals above dark sector defenses, which always used to be more popular. But then again, I'm kind of wary on how this is going to affect the taxes on these spots, and it doesn't fix the fact that the high-end efficiency is still cut down. There is no spot that reaches the efficiency of what we had before. And no amount of one-time compensations will fix this. Like, I really, really, really appreciate the work you do. I love this game. I've played it for over a year and a half. But this kind of cut on something that you are monetizing, even though it's not very actively pushed, is unacceptable. My clan has evaporated as a consequence of this. Like, nobody's playing anymore. I'm literally the last guy who's locked in the last 3 days because people just flat out rage quit and uninstall your game. And that's sad because it's a great game. But, like, offering alerts with 25 cores in it is not compensating for the fact that you're gonna effectively be losing these cores if you do even 2 Tower 4 survival runs compared to what we had before. We need a high-level spot to replace the old efficiency. We need a spot to regain that efficiency. Rebecca immediately said it on the very dev stream. Like, click that first link in my description. I put the timer into it and just watch Rebecca and Sheldon's reactions. It's like, it doesn't seem credible. I was horrified when I watched this. I've watched the last 13 dev streams, and this was the first time I actually did not believe what you were saying. I flat out thought you were bullshitting me, and that's not a feeling you want to invoke in your player base, especially not with the veterans who are like the longest standing supporters of your game. My guild's leaders were alpha veterans. They all owned Excalibur Prime and were extremely active, and the last changes just flat out killed the game for them, which is a real shame if we got cool things like underwater action and 8-player raids coming up. So I really, really hope you take into consideration that it is great that you've opened up the star chart, that you're allowing players to do this, and that you're spreading out what is actually accessible and viable, but we need something to reach the same efficiency as we had available before. It needs to be restored in some way. I'm not saying it should be key limited. Maybe we need another way to access fusion cores. Maybe we need a new type of fusion cores. Maybe we can even bind these Orokin cells into the whole thing. Like, in my personal opinion, since primed mods are the big burner here, why not create a sort of primed fusion core blueprint that Barocketeer always has with him, and where you combine 10 rare fusion cores and 10 Orokin cells into a primed fusion core that can only be used on primed mods and then runs with efficiency of 20 cores. So something that effectively helps you trend these Orokin cells over into primed mod power, which can only be used on primed mods if that is what you're going after. Anything, literally anything to restore that old speed, because these core sinks are effective and you need to not cut off the head of what's available in terms of grinding efficiency. This needs to be undone or your veteran community is going to fall apart. So yeah, this has been Jukantos. Thanks for listening to me rambling, and I hope to see it fixed soon.